If you know anything about YouTube, you know you have to have your niche, your demographic, and audience to talk to. I just want to explain who I'm talking to and why today. And these four things, the grand solar minimum, those over 50, rural plus land, and nomads, I know. What do they have to do with each other? I'm going to tell you in just a moment why I think it's important for a very few number of people, and a little tiny bit more in my race to not blabber on today. So with that, we're going to take a deep breath, hold, exhale. My name is Jill. This is the Road Report. See you on the other side. So I wanted to do a little short explanation today because I know I'm in a lot of different topics that don't technically have anything to do with each other. You started to see me overlap a little bit. I wanted to make it like one statement and why my channel is a little erratic, but here we go. So the grand solar minimum, that affects everybody. Those over 50, huge growing number population. By 2030, there'll be 20% of the population will be over 65, but we are progressively getting older and living longer. Big chunk of the population, all kinds of scary statistics around just this. Why rural and land? Because one, I discovered I love it. Two, having lived in both urban, suburban, and now rural environments, big fan of the land, and why I think it really will be the secret that takes us forward through everything coming from here. And the last one is nomad. That's just a personal thing with me, but I also see that as a really good fit here and here and here. So we're going to pull it all together right now. So here's the bottom line. This is boring. Anybody over 50 knows there's a lot of changes coming in within us as we move forward, but we want to know about it, but we're not really interested in it. Nobody looks at information about this. It affects everybody at some point in time. It's super important. It's the one apocalypse and catastrophe you can count on. Very boring. Nobody's interested. So I started talking about this because number one, it's super scary. It's a lot of information coming in a really short amount of time. The over 50s have everything to do with getting us through this event right here, the grand solar minimum. And people like to click on that topic way more than they like to think about getting older or aging. Now, the rural and land, if you know anything about food, you know that grand solar minimum is a big issue with food. You know you need land. I know they're talking about indoor growing, but let's just have a reality check around that. I don't want to eat sprouts 24/7, as I'm sure you don't either. So the land is really important. People over 50 own most of the land. People over 50 have most of the knowledge on how the land works. People over 50, especially women, own both the land and the resources in the rural communities. All these little old towns are filled with older women who own all the land. We still live longer than you guys. The reason I like this is one, I happen to like this lifestyle. Two, perfect complement for the land. Very important in the grand solar minimum because agricultural production will continue to push south and will be seasonal. You don't want to live in the ice and the cold, but you might want to go up there to help grow crops. Two, very affordable. Over about 11% of people they think will be able to keep their ongoing lifestyle as they get older. Way more affordable. So not great when you're old and frail. Awesome as long as you're moving around. So that's kind of why all this stuff pulls in together. And the reality is people like to click on exciting headlines. I may have to devolve into that. But I'm really interested in what will get us through what's coming, whether it's major climate changes, food production, getting older. I still am not excited about that. And enjoying ourselves along the way and being productive. This gives you so many more opportunities to be productive in a brand new way. So I'm very excited about all this. I know it's not exciting on the surface. That's why I'm asking you to take this journey with me and to think big. You don't have to want to do all four of these to take it with me. This affects everybody, and this affects everybody. So, and if you like to eat, this affects everybody. So even though it may not be your thing, I am excited for you to learn a little bit more about it. It's hard to not get stuck into the fear-mongering that's going on everywhere, but the reality is we're attracted to fear. So I'm only talking to a very tiny percentage of people who are excited about the opportunity, not going to get stuck in the crisis. So in the same way I've been really focusing on food, shelter, health, and community, there's also 3 phases that this really process moves us forward. 1 is preparing as best we can for what's coming. 2 is crisis management and transitioning through what's coming. 3rd is really adapting to the new. Because here's what I want to say about survivalism and prepping and a traditional prepping mentality. It's not going back to the way it was. I think that's the hardest part for people to kind of grasp, is what was is gone. We are entering what I am now calling the next world. Not the new world order, but the next world. You get to choose what you want it to look like. I think there'll be a lot of different versions. So this is mine. It will not be for everybody, just a tiny few. I think it's awesome, which is why I'm sharing it with you. So as we wrap up here, I just want to say thank you to all the new subscribers, to the people who are watching, the really awesome comments that you guys are sharing. And in addition, we're going to say one more thing as we take one more deep breath for the road, and hopefully you will rise with the sun in your eyes, love in your heart, feet strong on the ground as together we walk on Survival Road, one day at a time. Live free, die wild, my friend, and we'll see you next time.